They told you to be good, to be honest, to be kind. They said truth always prevails, that the world rewards those who do right. But tell me, has it? We grow up believing the universe is fair, that effort guarantees success, that kindness returns kindness, that sincerity is its own shield. It's a comforting illusion, one that shelters us from seeing how the world truly works. But eventually, every innocent heart learns the same cruel lesson. The truth alone is never enough. In the silent wars of life, in politics, in business, in love, victory doesn't always belong to the pure. It belongs to those who understand the game being played, while innocence stands defenseless, believing there was never a game at all. The honest speak with transparency, the cunning with strategy. The sincere reveal themselves. The manipulative reveal only what they choose. And so the scales tilt, not toward truth, but toward performance. Every era tells the same story, in different forms. The saint crucified, the loyal betrayed, the honest ignored. The innocent walk into battle unarmed, thinking justice is their armor, only to realize too late that the world bows not to virtue, but to perception. Maybe that's why the kind so often lose, not because they lack strength, but because they assume everyone else plays by the same rules. They believe sincerity can be seen, that fairness is universal, that evil reveals itself. But in reality, deception wears a smile. Manipulation mimics morality. And power hides behind ideals. Yet this isn't only tragedy. It's revelation. Because the truth is not that innocence is doomed. It's that innocence, without awareness, is blind. What if the good fall not because the world is evil, but because they never learned how the world works? What if purity collapses, not under corruption, but under ignorance of it? The question isn't why evil exists. It's why innocence refuses to see it, and to understand that blindness, to see how purity falls and power rises. We must return to a man who stripped illusion from morality itself. A man whose name became synonymous with manipulation. A man who didn't glorify deceit, but revealed its necessity. To understand why innocence never wins, we must meet the man who unmasked power, Niccolò Machiavelli. For centuries, his name has been spoken like a curse. Machiavellian, a word now tangled with deceit, manipulation, the cold pursuit of power. But beneath that shadow, beneath the legend of the schemer, lies something far more tragic and far more human. Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't born a monster. He was born an idealist, a man who believed in reason, in stability, in the fragile order of civilization itself. He served Florence, a city of beauty and chaos, of art and blood, as a diplomat, a thinker, a watcher of power's inner machinery. For years, he stood in the courts of kings and soldiers, watching brilliance and brutality dance side by side. He believed he could navigate their storms with intellect and loyalty. But then, the tides turned. When Florence fell to the Medici, the very family he had once stood against, Machiavelli's loyalty meant nothing. He was accused of conspiracy, imprisoned, tortured, stripped of his position, his reputation, and his hope. Exiled from the power he had spent a lifetime trying to understand. Alone, disgraced, forgotten. And so, he turned to writing, not out of ambition, but out of necessity. In his exile, he stared into the abyss of human nature, and what stared back at him changed him forever. Machiavelli saw that beneath the fragile veil of morality lies a deeper truth. That people are moved not by virtue, but by fear, by desire, by self-interest. Power, he realized, doesn't corrupt the world, it reveals it. The rulers who survive are not those who cling to goodness, but those who understand appearance, timing, and manipulation. To him, the prince was never a love letter to tyranny. It was a manual for survival in a world ruled by illusion. He wasn't teaching men to be evil. He was warning them that others already were. He exposed the hypocrisy of those who preach virtue while chasing greed. He showed that politics and power itself are not theaters of morality, but of masks. And through that mirror, Machiavelli forced humanity to confront its reflection. Raw, unfiltered, and unbearably honest. Perhaps that's why he's still hated. Because he spoke the truth innocence cannot bear to hear. The world does not reward purity. It rewards perception. It rewards control. It rewards those who see reality as it is, not as they wish it to be. Machiavelli was never the villain. He was a realist among dreamers. A man punished for seeing too clearly the shadow behind the light. And in doing so, he became what innocence fears most. A mirror. One that doesn't lie. One that reflects not what we hope to be, but what we truly are. Every society is a stage, and every individual a performer. Whether we admit it or not, life unfolds as theater. Some learn to play their roles. Others never realized there was a script. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. The world does not run on truth. It runs on perception. Humans are emotional creatures. We're drawn to confidence more than honesty, to charm more than substance. We don't see reality directly. We see presentations of it, filtered through appearances, gestures, and tone. It's not the honest who win, but the convincing. Not the pure, but the persuasive. This is the psychology of manipulation. From the moment we're born, we begin learning the game. We study faces. We decode voices. We discover what earns approval and what invites rejection. As we grow, we adapt. We shape our expressions, our words, our posture to fit what the world rewards. At first, it isn't deception. It's survival. But over time, we perfect our masks. Some masks protect us. Some control us. And some become so fused to our skin, we forget there was ever a face beneath them. The cunning understand this instinctively. They know confidence can silence truth, that a calm voice can conceal malice, that people rarely follow integrity. They follow presence. So they cultivate illusion carefully. The right words, the right image, the right emotional tone. They wear sincerity like armor, bending it to their advantage. Meanwhile, the innocent believe transparency will save them. They speak too soon, reveal too much. They assume honesty is visible, that truth shines through on its own. But in a world addicted to optics, honesty is often drowned by noise. Politics proves it. The leader who appears virtuous will always outshine the one who is. In business, charm climbs faster than competence. In love, confidence seduces more easily than vulnerability. And on social media, filters and narratives triumph over authenticity every single day. Machiavelli wasn't the first to notice this, but he was the first to say it aloud. "Everyone sees what you appear to be," he wrote, "but few see what you are." It's a brutal revelation, because it means reality itself is often irrelevant. What matters is what can be made to seem real. But this doesn't mean the world is hopeless. It means it's strategic. Understanding the game doesn't require deceit. It requires awareness. To survive among masks, you must learn to recognize performance, to see the rehearsed smiles, the calculated humility, the quiet choreography of power. The innocent fall, not because they are weak, but because they assume authenticity speaks for itself. Yet perception always speaks louder. Those who thrive are not necessarily more intelligent. They're more attuned to how emotion shapes belief. They don't fight illusion. They shape it. And so, the world continues its quiet masquerade, a dance between those who wear masks and those who mistake them for faces. Perhaps that's the tragedy Machiavelli wanted us to confront. That truth is fragile, not because it is weak, but because it refuses to perform. In the end, the world rewards masks, not faces. The world is not a battlefield of truth and lies. It is a stage, vast, elaborate, endlessly rehearsed. Every nation, every corporation, every individual plays a part. And the most dangerous illusion of all is believing that no one is acting. Machiavelli saw this theater long before the curtain was raised. In The Prince, he didn't praise deceit for its own sake. He revealed a truth few dare to whisper, that perception often outweighs morality. He wrote that it is better to appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious than to actually be so, because people do not judge by reality, but by what their eyes can see. It's a truth most hearts cannot bear. We want to believe that authenticity wins, that if we remain genuine, the world will recognize our worth. But history and modern life tell a different story. It isn't truth that moves crowds. It's narrative. It's theater. It's the illusion of virtue, carefully lit, perfectly timed. From political leaders rehearsing empathy for the camera, to influencers curating every angle of their supposed realness, humanity's obsession with image has only deepened. The same psychology that once ruled royal courts now governs algorithms. Today's kings are crowned not by conquest, but by perception, by the ability to seem trustworthy, to seem humble, to seem good. The sincere still believe that truth needs no performance, but sincerity alone rarely commands attention. In a world addicted to spectacle, silence is a kind of death. Those who grasp this unspoken rule wield power. They understand that appearances are not decoration. They are currency. The image of virtue opens doors that virtue itself cannot. And so they master the art of seeming. They don't become good. They perform goodness. They don't pursue truth. They manage it. This isn't mere manipulation. It's adaptation. In a theater where the audience rewards illusion, the actors who refuse to act fade into obscurity. But Machiavelli's lesson was never to glorify the mask. It was to expose it. He wanted us to see the stage for what it is, to understand that image and reality have always been uneasy partners. In the Renaissance, rulers crafted divine facades to hide human ambition. In our age, we do the same, only with filters, branding, and charisma. The tools have changed, but the play remains, and so innocence falters because it refuses to play the role. It stands at the edge of the stage, speaking truth plainly, expecting the crowd to listen. But the audience is busy watching the spotlight, and the spotlight never falls on the unperformed. Perhaps that is the cruel wisdom of Machiavelli's world. Morality is not the script the world follows, but the costume it wears. And if you refuse to wear the mask, are you moral or merely unarmed? From childhood, we are told a story that soothes, comforts, and blinds us, that the good are rewarded, that the bad are punished, that the universe itself is a moral machine, where justice is inevitable, and fairness is the rule of life. But open your eyes long enough, and you'll see the story begin to unravel. The cruel often rise, the gentle are forgotten, the honest silenced, and still we whisper to ourselves, it will balance out someday. Psychology has a name for this illusion: the just world hypothesis, the desperate belief that life must be fair, because the alternative is unbearable. We cling to it, because without it, the world feels chaotic, random, unsafe. But Machiavelli tore the comfort apart. He showed that fairness is not a law of nature. It's a human invention. Justice is not something the universe guarantees. It is something men enforce, and often manipulate. Those who understand this truth shape the world to their design. Those who don't are shaped by it. Innocence believes that goodness has its own gravity, that truth will naturally rise to the surface. But history laughs in silence. Socrates was condemned for speaking truth. Galileo, imprisoned for revealing it. The whistleblower today, exiled, mocked, erased. It isn't always malice that wins. It's strategy. Power bends perception, and perception defines justice. The tragedy of innocence is not its purity, but its assumption that the world must play by the same rules it lives by. But the world is not moral. It is functional. It rewards efficiency, not empathy. It uplifts narratives, not integrity. Look around. Leaders punished for compassion. Manipulators worship for charisma. Truth-tellers bury beneath the noise. Fairness is not absent. It's conditional. It belongs to those who can control the story. Machiavelli never celebrated this truth. He revealed it so that we might awaken. Because once you see the machinery behind the myth, you are no longer a pawn in someone else's illusion. To accept that the world is not fair is not to become cynical. It is to become conscious, to understand that morality without wisdom is helpless, that kindness without strength is vulnerable. The innocent lose not because they are good, but because they expect goodness to be enough. And in a world built on perception, that belief, however beautiful, becomes their downfall. There comes a moment, after disillusionment, after betrayal, after innocence has been burned down to its roots, when a different kind of clarity begins to form. The clarity of someone who no longer expects the world to be kind, but chooses kindness anyway. Someone who no longer mistakes sincerity for safety, yet refuses to let cynicism consume them. Machiavelli's realism was never a sermon for the corrupt. It was a mirror, harsh, necessary, awakening. He never said we must become wolves. He only warned that pretending the wolves don't exist makes us their prey. The wise understand what innocence never could. That morality without awareness is fragility, and awareness without morality is corruption. Strength lies not in choosing one or the other, but in holding both. Carl Jung called it individuation, the integration of the shadow. To become whole, one must confront the darkness within, not deny it. The innocent repress it, and so remain naive. The manipulator embraces it, and so becomes hollow. But the wise observe it, understand it, and control it. They see the game, without losing themselves to it. True purity is not the absence of darkness. It is the mastery of it, because there is a form of innocence that survives the fall. Mature innocence. It no longer hides behind idealism, nor collapses under despair. It sees manipulation clearly, but chooses integrity anyway. It speaks truth with strategy, compassion with boundaries, kindness with strength. In this higher state, goodness is not blind. It is disciplined. It knows when to reveal and when to retreat, when to fight and when to stay silent. It learns that power is neither evil nor holy. It is a tool, one that reflects the intent of the hand that wields it. The innocent say, "I will not play the game." The corrupt say, "I will play to win." But the wise whisper, "I will play only when it matters." To see through illusion is not to abandon hope. It is to reclaim it, unshackled from naivety, to walk through the theater of masks, without needing one of your own, to be aware of manipulation, yet unmoved by it. That is the balance Machiavelli wanted humanity to find. Not purity destroyed by knowledge, but purity refined by it. The mature mind is neither blind nor bitter. It understands that seeing the game does not mean becoming a player. It means never being played. And perhaps that is where the innocent were always meant to arrive. Not at the death of virtue, but at its awakening. Innocence is not weakness. If it can see, as the curtain falls, and the echoes of power fade into silence, something deeper remains. Not despair, but understanding. Machiavelli was never the prophet of cruelty the world made him out to be. His realism was not a hymn to deceit, but a mirror forcing us to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be, because only when illusion dies can wisdom begin to breathe. He showed us that power unmasks truth, that it reveals what people value, what they fear, and what they pretend to be. Power strips away performance, leaving us face to face with the one thing we've always been running from: our own nature. The world may never reward innocence. It may mock it, exploit it, even destroy it. But if that innocence survives awareness, if it learns to see without losing its light, it becomes something divine. That was Machiavelli's hidden hope. Not the death of morality, but its evolution. A goodness no longer naive, a compassion no longer blind, the kind of strength that walks through corruption and remains uncorrupted. Because the true awakening is not learning how to deceive, it's learning how to see through manipulation without becoming manipulative, to see through lies without losing the will to speak truth, to see through power without craving it. Perhaps the world never belonged to the innocent, but it may yet be saved by them, once they learn to see. If this message resonated with you, if it made you pause, think, or feel something stir inside you, take a moment. Subscribe to Lunithought. Walk this path of reflection with us. Each video is an invitation to look deeper into the mind, into society, into yourself. Because awakening doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in the quiet spaces, between thought and understanding, between light and shadow. So stay, listen, reflect, and remember. Innocence is not weakness. If it can see,